episode of Against the Grain. I'm your host, Katie Goodwin. As you can see, today we are in a little bit of a different spot. Granted, I have not filmed one podcast in the same spot, but today we are at Griffith Observatory. We thought we'd come out and explore a little bit, and I thought, it's a great spot for a podcast. So today we are going to be doing a little Q&A session. I asked you guys to ask me questions on my Instagram at Againstthegrain.pod. Make sure you're going and following that page if you're not already. Also on my TikTok, the Spotify, the YouTube, all of it. Make sure you keep up on the latest things that I have. So we're just going to jump right into this Q&A. You guys know me. I don't skip around the bush. We just dive right into these things. So our first question is, what made you pick the topic of your podcast? So I've always wanted to talk about women in golf, just always been an advocate for it. I've seen the troubles in it, and I want to talk about it, and not just golf, but in sports as well. And I thought, let's use this podcast to talk about that. So here we are talking about it. So our next question is, how long have you been playing golf? I've been playing golf since I was 4. I'm 21 now, so almost 18 years. My cousins got me started into it. They were from the more golfing part of Oregon, and then I just picked it up. It was like love at first swing almost. And yeah, the passion just kind of started from there. Who is my favorite golfer and why? So on the women's side, I'd have to say Paula Creamer. I've always loved her. Growing up, loved the pink. I always wanted to wear the pink like she did. And funny story, back when I would go to the LPGA Portland Classic at Pumpkin Ridge, she handed me a range bag and signed it for me, and that thing still sits in my room to this day. And when I was younger, I carried that thing around with me everywhere. I was so proud of it. So yeah, definitely Paula Creamer on the women's side, but for the men, Jordan Spieth. I've grown up with him, been watching him for the past 10, 12 years, which is really crazy. And yeah, just Jordan Spieth and everything he's done for the game as well, especially with how young he was when he accomplished those things. Moving on, what is the most rewarding experience you've had as an athlete? Great question. I would have to say it's not just one experience, it's probably just like my whole career. The skills that I've learned through the sport, being an athlete, and really just everything I've gained from it, the experiences, the friends, the memories, and I wouldn't take it back for anything. It's been such a blessing, and so I think just all of that has been so rewarding. But it's definitely rewarding too when you can volunteer in the sport and give back to the community that's helped you so much. So my favorite memory in golf, that's definitely a hard one. I don't know. But my favorite memory in golf, I would have to say, I was playing at Chambers Bay, which if you don't know, it's a course up in Washington where they played the 2015 U.S. Men's Open. And I'd have to say probably walking down the 18th hole with this caddy I had, who I ended up having for that tournament for the next 3 years. Probably just walking up 18, just laughing and joking. In the background, you have the Puget Sound, and you know that you're on a hole where history happened. Jordan Spieth won there. So I always think that's really cool. Tiger has a plaque out of his own bunker out in the middle of the fairway. So I think definitely Chambers Bay 18th hole. I also almost had a hole-in-one there, it's pretty heartbreaking. I was on the 16th hole and my shot lipped out, so it would have been really fun to have a hole-in-one at Chambers Bay, but unfortunately I'm still waiting for that moment to come. Next one is, has there ever been a time when you felt like giving golf up? Yes, definitely. Back when I was younger, I think it was in 2017, I almost gave it up because it got mentally draining. I couldn't keep up with the other people in my divisions, and I was struggling for distance. I was battling mentally as well, and so I did but took a break. I would say about 2 to 3 months, but I definitely wanted to go back out to the golf course. That was my home out there, And so, I think that was really the only time. But then, of course, I did stop playing competitively, but I wouldn't say I really gave it up. I kind of just more so moved on. But yeah, there definitely have been times, but at the end of the day, golf was home to me, and I'd always come running back to it. So then the next one is, what is your mission as a woman in sports? Definitely to promote the diversity, the inclusion in it. Just to make sure that women are included, that it's not just one-sided, that everything's not male-dominated, that we can do it as well. It just really shows that everyone can do it, and I want to be the person that kids can look up to and say I want to be like her one day, because I didn't have a lot of that growing up, and so if I can be that person for someone else, then I've done my job. What is the next topic on the podcast? That's a good question. Sometimes I don't know until the day before, but I think it'll probably be with the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open is next week at Los Angeles Country Club, and I am fortunate enough to be going one day, so I'm going to try and capture all the content from that, maybe just give an overview of everything that happened, everything I saw. I love going to U.S. Opens. I've been to 2 before, one at Chambers Bay and one at Torrey Pines, so this is my 3rd one now, and I'm super excited, super pumped to see what takes place. So I'll probably definitely be making podcasts about that, so keep your eye out. This one says, when is Mia going to become your co-host? We love her. I love Mia too, but I do want to make her my co-host. I think having her around just really brings out the best in me, and we bring out the best in each other. We are able to argue about things and really give you guys the best content possible. Also thinking about talking to my friend Taylor, who you guys will meet soon, and making her my co-host maybe, so we'll see about it. How did you come up with your podcast title? Yeah, so actually, speaking of Taylor, she was one of my coworkers at JGAA, and we just immediately became best friends last year. Love her. But yeah, so she was actually the one that came up with the name. We had been at the Waste Management all day and talked about how we wanted to start our podcast, and we were sitting at dinner that night and we're like, okay, we're finally gonna do this. But unfortunately, we didn't end up starting it together. But in golf, when you're with the grain, you're able to hit it easier, your club doesn't get stuck, and so you're with the grain. But we knew that with this podcast, our mission was to go against what people are saying, against the flow, and so that's how she said against the grain, and we knew right then and there that that was the name for it. So I think it's a really cool story, and I love thinking about it. But yeah, do you think changes will come to the gender gap with the new merge with PGA and LIV? That's a tough question for me to answer as someone who's not in it, but I definitely think that changes could come. I think it's either going to be really good though or really bad. I don't think there's going to be an in-between. I think the really good will be that the women might get to play in these new team events or these new TGL events, which are the ones with Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy have started. But so I think that could be really good. Also with the money, some of it could circulate back into the LPGA, so I'm hoping that happens. Unfortunately, I feel like it might not. So then that kind of goes into the really bad of the women not getting any money, the women not getting any more recognition or just being overlooked, which already happens plenty. But yeah, I just really, really hope that the money and the recognition can go right back into them, because they're pouring their hearts out to this sport as well, and they've been so overlooked with this whole PGA LIV thing, and I really hope that doesn't keep happening. Next one is, what can I do if I want to start a podcast? If you want to start a podcast, the easiest thing to do is just grab your phone, start recording. I hesitated so many years on starting a podcast because I was scared. So don't be scared, just do it, honestly. In the wise words of Nike. Our next question is advice for someone who wants to learn to play. golf is not an easy sport. You're never going to be perfect. You're always going to be making mistakes, so just keep learning from them. Just know that it's an imperfect game. It's a game of good misses, honestly. And just grab your buddies and go. You don't need to go to the most expensive golf course. You can just go to your backyard, start chipping a little bit. So yeah, honestly, just start small, grab some friends and go. Doesn't need to be a big show. But yeah. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? In 5 years, I hope to be, maybe on course reporting or being a reporter for the tour or something, something in golf or reporting, maybe taking this podcast somewhere, having an actual talk show, which I've always dreamed of, so I think that would be really, really cool. And that kind of goes along with the next question of future goal aspirations. So those are kind of my career goals. But for me personally, I think just to keep growing in my personality, just getting more comfortable with the world of social media and even growing my golf game as well. Maybe trying to get back to how I was when I was in college. Lost it a little bit, but maybe doing some of that. But yeah, just honestly to keep growing, keep learning every single day is definitely a goal of mine. So next questions are just kind of a little bit more about me, who I am. So first one is, what are you studying in school? So I'm at Arizona State and I'm currently studying sports journalism. I will be graduating in December, so that's super exciting. I'm kind of ready to be done with school, but yeah, so sports journalism. And then where are you from? I'm originally from Oregon, so that Pacific Northwest kid at heart. But I have lived in Arizona for almost 4 years now. I don't see myself going anywhere else for a while. I do love it there. So yeah, I do say I'm from Phoenix now, but alright, and our last question is, what's your favorite thing about golf? Honestly, the people. I've met some of my best friends like Mia and Taylor from the sport. I've met people from all over the world in the sport. And also just being able to travel to some of the places I've been, like Pinehurst and Chambers Bay, Torrey Pines. It's brought me to some really amazing places. So the people and the travel are definitely the two biggest things. But yeah, that is all the questions that you guys sent in for me. Thank you guys so much for sending those in. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I can do more of these in the future as this channel grows. But again, thank you guys so much for watching today. If you ever have any questions for me, you want me to analyze your swing video, I'll do it. You can send me a message on Instagram at Againstthegrain.pod, or you can follow me on TikTok at Katie Goodwin 82 to see some behind the scenes content of everything that goes on. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Join us next week for a conversation on the US Open at Los Angeles Country Club. I'm your host, Katie Goodwin. Bye everyone.